And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the
classic. Times.
Hey everyone, Alex back again with another video. This time it's going to be one I haven't done for a while. It's going to be a collection update for you. I've got a pretty sizable stack of stuff here, so I'm going to try and get through it quickly, but we all know what I'm like, so I'm not promising anything, but I'll try anyway. So kicking things off, I'm actually going to start with my birthday haul, because my birthday was at the beginning of the month, so I think it's only fair I share that with you. Well, last week, as of when I'm filming this, was when my birthday was, so I'm gonna make some space and I'm gonna show you what I got. So the first thing I got for my birthday was actually a gift from my beautiful wife, Jenny. The Killers, Hot Fuss, their debut album, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure it is. Obviously has all of their massive hits. Mr. Brightside, Somebody Told Me, Smile Like You Mean It. All really good stuff on here. Yeah, all these things that I've done. Glamorous indie rock and roll. Just a really, really good album by them, and so glad I finally have this on vinyl. It's been one I've been wanting to get over the last couple of years, but never bit the bullet and got it. So glad I've finally got that album. After that, I ended up, or on my actual birthday, I ended up taking a little trip to see my friend Steve, who runs Vintage and Vinyl, my local record store. I believe somewhere, I know I have the tote bag, but I didn't bring it with me, so it's the only local record store in town that's sort of near-ish by. But yeah, so I got a few things from him. First thing is something he's been holding on to me since record store day. I've been wanting this, I've been eyeing it up, and finally managed to get to see him and get it. It is the album by Dead by Sunrise, Out of the Ashes, the only album they've ever done. Those of you that are unfamiliar with this, so this is the deluxe edition that has a bonus track and then 5 acoustic versions of songs that are on here. This is actually the side project of Linkin Park's Chester Bennington, which it's a shame that this is the only album they ever did, because I actually really enjoyed this album. As it says on the hype sticker, I did manage to save the hype sticker on this one. Chester Bennington of Linkin Park, his album, and it's on a really nice, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, a transparent black ice vinyl. Yeah, really good. It's the first time I've got excited for record store day in a couple of years. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it out on record store day to get to the shop, but I was lucky enough that he had one left and he said, I will put it to one side for you. So I'm lucky on that aspect. I finally have it. It is Dead by Sunrise, Out of the Ashes. Really good metal album. If you guys aren't really a fan of Linkin Park, but you want something metal that has Chester Bennington's voice in it. Right, this doesn't sound anything like Linkin Park. This is proper like heavy metal from, well, the early 2000s, but there's no Linkin Park influence in there. So if you're not really a fan of Linkin Park, but you like Chester Bennington's voice, I'd highly recommend checking out that album. Original pressings go for like triple figures at this point, but you can easily find the album on Spotify and YouTube and things like that. So after that, I hit up the 3 for 2 section that he has in the store. So it's buy 2 albums, get the third one free. So my freebie from there was Head Games by Foreigner. It was between this and another album that I was eyeing up, but I ended up going with this one because, well, I think my recent rewatch of Cobra Kai on Netflix has sort of inspired me to go for this one over the other album I was looking up, because the song Head Games features in the show, and obviously there's a lot of 80s rock in the show as well, so I think that kind of influenced my decision there. But that one was my freebie on that aspect. And then I ended up picking up a couple of Miles Davis albums while I was there as well. In a Silent Way, I picked up a really nice clean copy of this. Obviously you can probably see a little bit of ring wear on the cover, but you guys know that doesn't bother me. This is a much later reissue. It's on the orange and yellow CBS label. I was told that it might sound like crackly in the quiet parts, and it's a quiet album anyway, but after listening to it, it's not that crackly. It sounds really good, so I'm really glad I picked that one up. And this next one I haven't had a chance to sit and listen to yet, but it is an album that I had in my previous collection, you know, before I did my big purge of everything. Sketches of Spain by Miles Davis was once I would have said this was my favourite Miles Davis album. That's not the case anymore, but I would still put it in my top 10 for Miles Davis. I think it's a really good album, and I think people overlook this album just because of its Spanish influence and the fact that it followed Kind of Blue, which is one of the most influential jazz albums of all time. And much like my copy of In a Silent Way, this is on the orange and yellow CBS label. So again, much later reissue of this, but I still think this is a really phenomenal album, and I'm super happy to have this one back in the collection after months and months of thinking I'm never getting my Miles Davis stuff back. I find 2 Miles Davis albums in one trip. One I owned previously. I never owned In a Silent Way before, but really happy I own a copy of that one now. One more thing from my trip to Vintage and Vinyl here in town, and then I'll move on to my couple of bits from a previous visit to the store, and then a couple of online purchases as well. So that's always fun. Kicking things off, well actually no, rounding things off with this birthday haul trip is DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Rock the House. Their album from 1987, it is on Champion, so it's a UK press. I'd have said it's a VG Plus, but VG in spots, because it does get a little bit crackly. But what do you expect? I mean, I don't know what I expect. And also, I always talk about, 90s hip hop, how hard it is to find over here. But for some reason, I find 80s hip hop is a lot harder to find, particularly in my area. I think a lot of people just held on to it over the years, or it's hard to find in good shape anyway. Whereas 90s hip hop is actually a lot easier to find. Sometimes not necessarily on the cheap side if it's something a bit more obscure, but 80s hip hop is definitely a lot harder to find. and the fact it's Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff. This album, we say it slaps. Okay. Yeah, no, great album by them. The big track on here is Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble. Just in case you need a reference point for that one. Okay, couple things from my previous visit to that store, and then we'll go to my online purchases, and then I've got charity shop stuff to show. So, first thing I grabbed on that trip was Sing for the Moment by Eminem on 12-inch single. It's one of my favourite Eminem tracks, so I'm super happy to have this one back in the collection. Really, really good song by him. It samples Aerosmith's Dream On, and it's quite an obvious sample as well. Like, you'll hear it the minute you listen to the song. You don't necessarily have to like Eminem, but I love how clever he can be with some of his samples. Okay, and then after that I ended up picking up a copy of Czarface's Artificial Intelligence. It's their most recent album from 2023. It made my top 10 of 2023 list. I thought this album was really, really good, personally, from them. In 2023, I definitely got into Czarface a lot more than I was previously. Like, I knew a few tracks here and there, but started really doing a deep dive into their catalogue and realised I actually like a lot of their albums, and I figured I'd start with their most recent album, just because I thought it would be, well, it made my top 10 of 2023, so of course it would be a good place to start. I've spun this one a couple times already. I always love the fact they do comic book based covers as well. I'm a bit of a sucker for anything that does a sort of comic book influenced cover, and Czarface are definitely popular for doing that. I think every single album they've done, they've got a comic book style cover. I did try and salvage the hype sticker, but it didn't go according to plan, as you can see. But this is the one on a very nice green vinyl, which I think looks really cool. Honestly, doesn't really suit the album cover, but I like it. It's great. And again, I'll give you guys a little needle drop of this one because you might not be familiar. But there's a lot of features on here. Like, you've got Kool Keith featuring on here, Godfather Don, Logic even features on here. So yeah, I'll give you guys a little needle drop. I'm not sure which track I'll go with. So yeah, there is Czarface's Artificial Intelligence. Really, really good. Okay, I have a couple of online purchases to show you. Like I said, these have been accumulating over months and months of just buying. And here's an Amazon purchase for you. This is Airborne. With their album, what's it called? Black Dog Barking. I know what I said about online purchases didn't really make sense, but never mind. Airborne, again, influenced by Cobra Kai, because the song Back in the Game was used in the show. Really good. If you like AC/DC, you'll really like Airborne, I think, because, well, They're like AC/DC, they are an Australian-based hard rock band. But this album's really good. Maybe my favourite by them. I haven't done a huge deep dive into their catalogue, but from what I've listened to so far, this is my favourite album by them. It could change, it usually does, but this is the 2017 reissue of this album. Really, really good. And again, spun this one a handful of times as well. I think this one's really good stuff. And I like the cover. Sort of reminds me a bit of the book cover for Cujo by Stephen King, in a way. A little bit. I don't know if that's what influenced the cover, but happy to have that album nonetheless. And my final purchase online, this one was a vintage purchase. This is James Bay, Chaos and the Calm. This one actually is inspired by one of my best friends at work, but they're a regular customer. Anytime that he does karaoke, the song one of his go-to karaoke songs is Hold Back the River, which features on this album, and that's where the influence for this came from. But I also really like the songs Let It Go, Best Fake Smile, and Collide's also really good on here as well. This is an original 2015 pressing, so really happy with that. Another gatefold. Yeah, super happy with this album. And this one will be getting a few spins in the coming weeks. I think it's a really good album. So yeah, that is it for online purchases. The rest I think are all from charity shops and things. Not all the same haul, but still kind of, yeah, it's been all over the place recently. Some of these I've owned previously, some of these I haven't, and it's nice to get some of your old stuff back. Not necessarily the exact pressings, but just the albums you owned, like this one, Can't Slow Down by Lionel Richie. One of my favourites from him. There's a lot of really big tracks on here. All Night Long is a big track. Stuck on You. Running with the Night, Hello, which closes this album off. Really good track by him. Yeah, really love this album. I don't think Lionel Richie has a bad one in his solo career, honestly. But there is that. The gatefold as well. Really good stuff by Lionel. Track by track, I probably prefer his debut personally, but I still think this is a really solid album by him. So I think it's around that time he was going back and forth with Michael Jackson in the charts. But yeah, really good stuff. And on the topic of Lionel Richie, I did find a copy of the Commodores Hot on the Tracks. Much like in my previous collection, this was the first Commodores album I ever bought. So yeah, again, happy to have this back in the collection. This is from '76 originally, so their third or fourth album. There's no spine to this album anymore. Like, it's all disintegrated, but really happy with this nonetheless. I forgot how good this album was until I went back and re-listened to it, and I was just like, yeah, really good. Maybe not my favourite by the Commodores, but still a really good one, and one I think, if you're a Commodores fan, maybe give this one another listen and revisit it, because it is actually really good. I've got a couple of Nina Simone albums here, and yeah, these are charity shop finds. You don't see Nina Simone anywhere, really, let alone in a charity shop. Now, I've got Silk and Soul by her, and I've also got I Put a Spell on You by her, which I've been looking for a copy of this for a while. This one I had in my previous collection, obviously in a lot better condition, but purged my copy when I purged my collection. Silk and Soul's a little bit crackly in spots, so I probably put that on a borderline VG plus kind of condition. This one is VG plus, I'd say, condition wise. It sounds a lot better than it looks in a glimpse, and this one is the polar opposite. It's very crackly, but it looked like it was going to be like VG plus. So just goes to show you can never really tell, but nice to own, or add, I should say, 2 more Nina Simone albums to the collection. I'm a big fan of hers, so anytime I find her stuff, I'm gonna pounce and get it, because yeah, you just never see it. This next one was, I wouldn't say a blind buy, because when I saw it I did sample a couple of the tracks and I really liked what I heard, and that's Ryan Adams with his self-titled album from 2014. Never really dove into his catalogue that much. I know he's had 4 albums out this year already. I don't know if he's planning on releasing any more. Yeah, this one I thought was really good. I don't really know what else to say about this other than, you know, how much I really liked it. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Like maybe like a couple tracks and be like, I'm not keeping this, but no, a really solid album by him. If you are a fan of Ryan Adams, let me know what albums to check out by him, because I would love to discover more from him, but don't really know where to start, or I mean where to go from here. I have listened to this and I've checked out the 4 albums he's put out this year already. But if you have an idea of where to go from here, let me know, because I'd be interested to find out. But yeah, that's Ryan Adams with his self-titled album from 2014. Like I said, we're going all over the place with this one. We have Duran Duran, Seven and the Ragged Tiger, I want to say their 3rd album. But the Reflex and Union of the Snake were the 2 big hits off of this. But yeah, just a really good album again by them. They're one of my favourite 80s bands, so of course gonna try and add my Duran Duran stuff back into the collection. Great place to start there. Slave, The Hardness of the World. Been looking for a copy of this one for a while. Finally found an American pressing on the Criterion label. Their album from 1977. Track by track, maybe not their best album, but again, much like Nina Simone, you just never ever see any Slave stuff. At least not in good shape anyway, but that one was hardly played. SOS Band, On the Rise. One SOS Band album I never owned for some reason, and yet it's got Just Be Good to Me, which was their really big hit. Or a really big hit for them, I should say. Their 4th album from 1983. So really happy with that. Super stoked to own that one. And yeah, can't wait to build up my SOS Band / R&B collection again, because there's a lot of stuff that I had to let go that I'm like, I really wish I'd kept it now. But I had to be strict and couldn't keep everything. Hence why I now have Luther Vandross back in the collection. This is Give Me the Reason, his album from '86, and you know, you've got the album, you've got the song Give Me the Reason, which was used in the movie Ruthless People, but I think my favourite track on here is I Really Didn't Mean It, which is on the 2nd track on the B-side. Really solid track by him, and it's really a bit annoying that price sticker, when I tried to take it off, it ripped a little bit, and I was being super careful as well. But doesn't annoy me enough to like whinge about it too much. But I will ask Jenny to do it next time, because she's really good at getting price stickers off. Next one, Steve Winwood. This is Ark of a Diver. Again, one I had in my old collection. Happy to get back. 1980 on this one. A lot of 80s stuff I'm getting to now. But this is maybe my favourite Steve Winwood album. I'm not entirely sure. but it's still a really, really good one. Obviously, you've got the title track Arc of a Diver on here. Showdown, Sundown, great track. While You See a Chance. In fact, it's every track on here, to be honest. Really, really good. Do like a bit of Steve Winwood. And next one up is one I never imagined I would own in my collection, particularly because this was a band I was sort of getting into, but I didn't think I would like this much, is Uriah Heep. This is their album, The Magician's Hand. I think it's their 5th album. Not entirely sure. It's on the verge of like hard rock, progressive rock, this album. But I really like a lot of their album covers. I think a lot of them are very creative, particularly when you open this one up. This is a reissue on the Bronze label. I don't think it's a first press anyway. There's the label for you. Obviously I don't show labels too often, but I'll show you that one. Yeah, just a really good album from Uriah Heep, and it might inspire me to get back into their stuff a bit more, because I was, like I said, I was sort of getting into them a bit more before I purchased my collection, and it's really good to have something back by them. I'm sure you guys know this album anyway. If you're a fan of Uriah Heep, you'll know them. And the last thing I'm going to show you for this video, finally getting to the end, right, is ELO's Face the Music, which, yeah, again, big fan of ELO. It has Evil Woman on here and Strange Magic, which are 2 big hits for them. But this one is a UK press in a US sleeve, or at least I believe so, which made it really hard to catalogue it into my Discogs page. I hate when they do that. But either way, it's on the Jet label, which I really like the design on that label. I always have. Yeah, fun album by ELO. I do like a lot of their earlier albums, so it's nice to get this one back in the collection. I didn't listen to this one as much, but it was nice to go back and revisit this one for the first time in a while, and yeah, just really had a lot of fun revisiting that one. So there is ELO's Face the Music. So with that said and done, that is it for this video. I know this one dragged on a bit longer than I intended to, but either way, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It really helps me out a lot. Also, please subscribe to the channel if this is your first time checking out the channel. I'm really trying to get to 400 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm really close to that goal. And also, if you subscribe, or if you're already subscribed, make sure that bell's switched on. That way you never miss an upload. And with all that, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye!